There's been a lot of updates in the Azure Arc space recently. Learn all about how to get started with Azure Arc-enabled data services this week on Data Exposed. Hi, I'm Anna Hoffman, and welcome to this episode of Data Exposed. Today, I'm joined by Lior from the Azure Arc Jumpstart team. We've had you on the show a lot, Lior, so it's great to have you on the show in person this time. And, you know, we've chatted a lot about Azure Arc, about Jumpstart, about all these different things, but we kind of want to take it back, right?
Yeah, we wanted to do a bit of a recap because, as you know, SQL and data services and Azure Arc, those are all evolving products.
Sure.
There's a lot going on. So we wanted to just do a bit of a recap. We also announced a few things at Ignite. So we wanted to focus on that and just kind of make sure that people understand, hey, here are all the resources that I have in order to get started with this.
Okay, awesome. So we're going to be talking about how to get started with Azure Arc-enabled services. So how do we do that?
All right, so we have a few options, right? So, you know, basically when people are going and start learning about a product, they usually go to docs, right? Which we also changed the name, right, to Microsoft Learn now.
Right.
So they usually go to the docs, and that's all good because they get basically the fundamentals on the products, the commands and everything. But a lot of the time those docs are just oriented on the product. They're very laser focused on the product. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to provide something that is a bit more related to real life use case, just kind of wrapping things in a nice wrapping paper, if you will, and just show people what are the art of the possible. So at Ignite, basically what I want to cover today, I want to cover the things that we talked about in Ignite, and we have three things here that we want to talk about. The first thing here is the landing zone accelerator. So the landing zone accelerators are basically part of the cloud adoption framework. That's where people go in order to understand how should they think about their architecture when it comes to Azure. Now, as of today, we have 3 landing zone accelerators for Azure Arc, Azure Arc-enabled servers, Kubernetes, and the last one that we released is SQL Managed Instance.
Nice.
Yeah. So let's take a look. So I'm here in the Landing Zone Accelerator page, basically, in the Cloud Adoption Framework. And you can see here that I have 3 accelerators. Like we mentioned, servers, Kubernetes, and SQL Managed Instance. Each one of those accelerators has critical design areas. Those critical design areas are basically our way to bundle everything that is important for you to know when you are designing something like SQL Managed Instance using Azure Arc. So things like identity and access management, network topology, storage, automations,
really
and everything.
Important stuff.
Really important stuff, because those are the things that people really care about. And it's not just that, it's not, you know, very high level, it's very deep actually. So I'll give you an example. If I'll go here to storage disciplines, right? And you know, storage, pretty important piece when it comes to SQL, when it comes to your data, right? And basically each critical design area is built in a specific way, right? You always have the architecture, just kind of the overview. Hey, here are the things that you want to think about. And then we're going deeper than that. We basically, after the architecture, we're going to talk to you about the design considerations. Here are the things that you want to think about, right? So again, all these critical design areas, and generally speaking, the accelerators got very good reference architectures, like deep dive reference architecture diagrams, so you can follow along. And once you're done with that, we're basically providing you with the recommendations. So it's not just about the considerations, it's also us giving you the seal of approval. Here are the things that we, as the engineers, telling you, here's what you want to think about.
Right.
So we have 9 critical design areas, and this is the landing zone accelerator, so really a good bundle of information. But here's the thing with Azure Arc. Azure Arc, you know, I always said this, you know, we're trying to build Azure outside of Azure. And which is kind of, it's a challenging thing, right? Taking all the good things that we're doing in Azure, but bring those into platforms and architectures and infrastructure that we have zero control on. So how do we go by and do that? Basically, about 3 years ago, we started the Jumpstart project, and the Jumpstart project was created with the mindset of, let us try to show you how things will look like in your environment, even though they're not in Azure, right? Coming back to the docs conversation, right? We in docs, we never going to document a third-party platform. Like we're never going to show you, hey, here are the things that you want to look at AWS, or here are the things that you want to look at GCP. But Arc is very different. By design, it touches all those things.
Sure.
So what we're doing is we're basically providing you with implementation options. So each one of those accelerators got its own implementation option. And those implementation options are basically a collaboration with the Jumpstart project. What I mean by that is that we're providing you basically with a sandbox environment for each one of those accelerators. That sandbox environment is based on the product that we have, one of our flagship product in the Jumpstart, which is ArcBox. And ArcBox got different flavors. We have ArcBox for IT pros, we have ArcBox for DevOps, and the new one that we created for this one is ArcBox for DataOps.
Nice.
You want me to show it to you?
Yeah, I'd love to take a look.
All right, so here I am in the Jumpstart project, and what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna basically navigate to Jumpstart ArcBox, and I'll scroll here, and you can see that I have Jumpstart ArcBox for DataOps, right? So Jumpstart ArcBox for DataOps is designed to give you a full-blown sandbox environment in order for you to get started right away with SQL Managed Instance, with Azure Arc-enabled SQL Managed Instance.
Got it.
It has a lot of goodies baked into it. SQL migration, high availability, sample application, data studio, like really a lot of toys are baked into DataOps. So when you're deploying ArcBox for DataOps, you're basically getting two things. One, you're getting the resource group. Once the automation is done, you're getting a resource group with all the data services deployed into that. Okay, so you can see that I have data controllers here. I have custom locations, which is part of the architecture. If I'll, let's just save some real estate here. You can see that I have Kubernetes clusters. We're simulating things using AKS and also the Cluster API project. And also, you can see that I have SQL Managed Instance, which is kind of the most important piece, right? So these are 3 Arc-enabled SQL Managed Instance that are deployed as part of ArcBox DataOps. And you're getting all those things automatically deployed for you, single-click deployment, whether ARM template, Terraform, or Bicep. You can just go and deploy that. Now, once you do that, you're getting a client machine. And that client machine is your gateway to get going. That's the entry point.
Right.
The client machine has a lot of things baked into it. In order for you to experience everything that we are offering you in ArcBox, what I mentioned, how do you go by and practice backup and restore with SQL Managed Instance? Right. How do you do SQL migration? How do you do high availability? Like all those things, you need a way to do that. And we mentioned that this is a sandbox environment. So you're getting that client machine, and that client machine already got all the tools that you need all of it in order to interact with that.
Okay.
And the one that I wanted to show you here is, it is Data Exposed, right? And this is Data Studio.
Okay.
You can see here that I already have 3 SQL Managed Instance, Arc-enabled SQL Managed Instance, already configured and applied against that Data Studio. I didn't do anything.
You didn't add these connections?
No, this is out of the box. This is what you're getting. And not just that, you're also getting those, those AdventureWorks database, right? Yeah. You've been around in the game for a while. You know those AdventureWorks. And you can see here that we're actually restoring those databases for you.
Okay.
Right?
Cool, so I already have data.
You already have data, you already have a data set in order for you to interact with, right? And that's a very important piece because in those scenarios of using ArcBox, we're basically telling you, hey, here are all the things you can do, but here's the data that you can look into in order to manipulate it.
Sure.
So that's pretty important. So everything is just kind of baked in. That's just Data Studio, but you're getting SSMS. You're able to do stress testing with Grafana and Prometheus.
Oh, wow.
You're able to do a lot of things, and everything is baked for you into ArcBox DataOps.
Pretty powerful. And so if I want to know all the different scenarios or things I should look at in this, how do I know what's there?
Yeah, so basically, if I'll go here back to the Jumpstart, and you can see here, if you'll scroll in the ArcBox page, this is DataOps, right? You have this tab here using ArcBox, right? And under using ArcBox, this is basically all the scenarios that you have baked in once the automation is done in order for you to play with that. So you can see like the stress testing simulation. If I scroll down, you will see high availability, SQL and Grafana integration, backup and restore, point in time, a lot of things. And this is all baked into the Jumpstart project and specifically for DataOps.
Okay, so if I take us back, like I can use the landing zone accelerators to see kind of the different scenarios, kind of learn, educate myself on what's going on. Then I can use the ArcBox, actually get hands-on and see how all this stuff works when it's working.
Correct.
And then if I want to go one step further, are there other things that I can use in conjunction with this to keep learning?
Definitely. So the last piece that I wanted to show you is the introduction to Azure Arc-enabled data services. That's the Learn model that our friends Bach and Bob wrote. And basically, this is the fundamentals. This is really how to get started with Azure Arc-enabled data services. And this is also in conjunction to Jumpstart. We're actually recommending at the beginning that you can go deploy Jumpstart or deploy ArcBox and just have an environment. And the cool thing about that is that it's ephemeral. You can basically go delete this once you're done. We're not touching your production, but you're still able to experience all those things end to end.
Awesome, cool. Well, this is awesome, Lior. I feel like if you're a user, you want to get started with Azure Arc, this is the place to start. Lior's, brought all these tools together, and you can literally jumpstart into Azure Arc-enabled data services. So Lior, thanks so much for coming on the show. I personally learned a lot. I think our viewers probably learned a lot. They got a lot of stuff to go check out. So if you're a viewer, check the links in the description so you can get connected to all these great resources that Lior shared with us. Get hands-on today and let us know what you think. And we hope to see you next time on Data Exposed.